Thank you once again to FlexJ Productions for the suggestion. Any suggestion and feedback helps this channel greatly, so please keep the comments coming. Welcome back to Mega Man Character Files, the show where we look at the in-depth histories of various Mega Man characters who are relevant to our what-ifs. Today we'll be tackling the prototype New Generation Reploid, Axel. That's right, we're finally talking about a main playable character! And it's the least important out of all of the X main playable characters. Axel's first appearance was in Mega Man X7, the worst of the X games, debatably. Axel was designed to be the new, young, hip, cool character of the X series, and they tried to make him more edgy than the others, which is why they gave him pistols as his main weapon, instead of an arm cannon or a sword. The distinct scar on his forehead was not just put there to make him look rad and cool, but it was meant to signify that he still had a lot of growing to do, as he was much more inexperienced than X and Zero. And it was also to highlight the fact that there's a lot of mystery surrounding this character. How did he get that scar? You'll never know. Seriously, you never will. They never explain where he got it from. Axel's earliest memory is when he was found by Red, an old mercenary who used to work for Reploforce before the Reploforce War, who found him sealed away. Axel doesn't remember much of anything about his past. He doesn't know who created him or why, or how he even has his unique copy chip ability. But seeing as Red freed him, he felt indebted, so he decided to help Red in his vigilante group, Red Alert. Red Alert being a group originally meant to hunt down the Mavericks who were too secretive, too small for the Maverick hunters to deal with, especially with the Maverick outbreaks that had been happening at the time. Despite being part of this group, Axel seemed to have a lot of respect for the Maverick hunters, as he was a big fan of Zero and X. Using his unique copy chip, Axel is able to copy the DNA souls of any mechanoloid or reploid that he is able to kill using his copy shot. He can then use his A-Trans ability to transform into them. Not just into their physical bodies, but also having their abilities as well. Though, in his early days, he could only do this for Reploids and Mechanoloids that were his size. Red Alert used his ability greatly to their advantage, using the DNA data that he was able to get in order to make themselves stronger. While at first they seemed like a genuine vigilante group who were trying to help better the world, and as well as his own family, Axel didn't question their actions until the mysterious Professor eventually showed up. Then he noticed that they started getting more and more violent, seemingly only killing Reploids to gain their DNA data to make themselves stronger. With that, he left Red Alert. Though his escape wasn't as secretive as he thought, as they sent a Mechanoloid to chase him. While he was trying to run away, he ran into Zero. The two of them team up to take down the Mechanoloid, though Zero takes Axel into custody. Upon getting to Hunter Base, the Maverick Hunters would be contacted by Red, who would ask for Axel back, and would say that they should have a little game to see who can keep Axel. X, being incredibly displeased, tells Axel that he needs to clean up his own mess. Therefore, Axel teams up with Zero to go out and deal with all of the Red Alert members who are now labeled as Mavericks. X at this time didn't want to help due to him being sick of fighting and wanting to find a peaceful solution, though after Axel and Zero save enough Reploids, X decides that he needs to get back in there to fight, as the fighting will only continue without him there to assist. Upon defeating the other Red Alert members, the team would then go down to their home base, the Crimson Palace, where they would have one final battle against Red. After defeating Red, Red would see that he was wrong with everything that he did, and he would tell Axel to leave him there to die as his base crumbled around him. It is then revealed, shocker of all shocks, that Sigma was actually the professor. He was trying to use Red Alert and Axel to gain X and Zero's DNA for his own plans. So Axel, X, and Zero fight against Sigma, though even though they defeat two of his bodies, he is still kicking and seemingly stronger than ever. Suddenly, Red shows up again, and seems like he is actually going to help Sigma, though it turns out to be Axel who is using an A-trans version of Red and shoots Sigma out of his palace. With Red Alert completely destroyed and Sigma taken down for about the dozenth time, Axel has nowhere else to go, so he wants to join up with the Maverick Hunters, though X does not allow him, thinking him way too brash and way too careless to actually be a Maverick Hunter, though he does seem to help them out for a time until X finally warms up to the kid and allows him to become a full-fledged hunter, where he would eventually become an S-Class, just like X and Zero. He would also get an upgraded body at this time, similarly to X and Zero. However, this would allow his little jet boosters on his legs to be a lot more powerful, allowing him to hover in the air. His A-Trans ability would be upgraded as well. Now he would be able to copy Mavericks and Mechanoids that were much larger in size than him, though for the ones that were still too big and too powerful for him to directly turn into, he would be able to at least replicate their weapons, transforming his pistols into something more resembling something that they would use. He would also get his own dedicated navigator at this time, Pallet, who specialized in finding items in secret areas and stages. While we don't get to see them interact that much in the games, unfortunately, it seems like they would get along fairly well, as both of them seem to like playing jokes and have some fairly upbeat personalities. Humans would eventually be fed up with all of the Maverick, Reploid, Maverick Hunter fights going on, so they would make more new generation Reploids like Axel, though these were the full versions, not prototypes, who would then construct the Jacob orbital elevator to send humanity up to the moon. But an odd feature of these new generation Reploids is the fact that they all seemingly had the ability to transform into Sigma at will. They didn't even see Sigma or anything, or fight him. It was just something that they were able to do, which was confirmed by Lumine, the new generation Reploid who was the director of the Jacob project. While X and the other Maverick Hunters were understandably worried about this revelation, it didn't seem like the new gens were going Maverick until the orbital elevator got attacked and Lumine got kidnapped by a resurrected Vial, and then some new gens were confirmed going Maverick. This did bring up the concern on whether Axel might turn into a Maverick or turn into Sigma, or both at some point, though that did not happen during the events, and they trusted Axel, so they kind of took that out of their minds. Until Sigma showed up again, the actual Sigma, so of course the group had to go and stop him in order to save Lumine. Once again, the Maverick Hunters would defeat Sigma. However, it is then revealed by Lumine that this was all part of his plan, as the new generation Reploids, thanks to Sigma being part of their design, can go Maverick at will. And he then reveals that they are the next evolution of all Reploids, and that X and Zero and even Axel are just the old world. They are going to be obsolete, and there is no need for them anymore, as the fate of all Reploids is to become Maverick. X even starts to hesitate at this revelation. Has all of their fighting been in vain? But Axel is the one who shoots Lumine first and reminds X that they still need to fight and not to listen to his words. At the end of the day, Lumine is just a Maverick, like all of the other Mavericks that they've put down. And with that, the team go up against Lumine. After the hardest battle all three of them had to fight, Lumine was down. X and Zero were sure that he was put down for good. However, Axel wasn't so sure. As he was walking up to make sure that Lumine was down for the count, a black tendril sprouted out from Lumine's body and stabbed Axel in the head, smashing the forehead gem on his helmet. Before the tendril could do anything else, Zero immediately cut it, destroying it. X using a fully charged shot to completely decimate Lumine. And while Lumine was now gone, Axel was unconscious. And while he appeared to be fine, the tendril seemed to have placed something in his head. Now, if Axel is the one to place the final hit on Lumine using his Axel bullet, this will unlock a new form for Axel. White Axel. This form completely overpowers Axel, giving him unlimited hover, his bullets shoot way faster, and he is just overall stronger and faster. But this form is not only called White Axel because of the new white armor that he dons while wearing it, but it is a direct connection to Lumine as it is his colors. This is trying to say that there is some connection between this form and Lumine, though considering that this was the last X game released at this point in time, and we are still waiting for that cliffhanger to get resolved, we don't know what happened to Axel after this point. Axel wouldn't appear again, technically, until 300 years later during the ZX era in the game ZX Advent, where his data was seemingly used to create the biometal Model A. Now, we're going to be going into Model A more in the Gray and Ash character files that will be out sometime. But the one thing of note here is that cap on Model A's head. You see, the character designer for Model A decided to give him that instead of Axel's blue head gem because it was supposed to symbolize that they had to place a cap on Axel in order to seal Lumine away. So if we see an X9, are we going to see that? Maybe? Hopefully? If an X9 ever gets made, that is. Then, in an alternate non-canon timeline, 100 years after X8, or maybe X7, it's not really clear, while X and Co. are exploring Giga City, they run into Axel, who has been infiltrating the city for a while now, as he has been trying to find answers for his origin, his copy chip, and just who actually made him along with the other New Generation Reploids, since he had heard that there were some New Generation Reploids going around Giga City. X would then tell him that he's looking for Zero, and Axel said he'll help him find it. The two would find Zero getting his ass kicked by Mach Gentra, and so they would hop in and save the day, causing Gentra to fly off. With this, all three of the S-Class Maverick Hunters were brought back together. The three would eventually find Gentra and defeat him. However, he reveals that once he dies, the machine that is making all of the mechanoloid soldiers will get set off and create hundreds upon hundreds of them to storm into the room to destroy them all. After he explodes, the machine starts doing just that. So Axel uses his DNA soul to transform into him and try to command Dubor to stop producing the mechanoloids. And it actually works. Thanks to that, Axel gets X and Zero to destroy Dubor, causing the soldiers to stop being produced and get destroyed for good. Axel would continue to stay with the group until they finally defeat the Rebellion army, and as they are going back to Hunter Base, it is revealed that the true mastermind behind this whole thing was the current commander of the Maverick Hunters, Colonel Redips, who was having X and Zero go down to Giga City in order to stop the Rebellion army to give him the Supra Force Medal so that he could become all-powerful like a god. It was also revealed that he was actually Spider the whole time, and that he is also a new generation Reploid. Though it doesn't actually reveal anything about his connection to Axel, or what that has to do with the new generation Reploids or anything, and Force Metal also has no relation to any of that, though it can increase their copy abilities apparently, so that's something. And of course, Axel would help the group take down Colonel Redops for good and end the threat of Force Metal. Now, outside of a few other appearances and some spin-offs like X-Dive and a couple cameos in some other games that aren't necessarily related to Mega Man, Axel hasn't appeared in anything else, and unfortunately, we still haven't gotten any answers regarding his origin, why he was created, or who even made him. Oddly enough, Axel has not appeared in a lot of other media, though that is mainly because X7, X8, and Command Mission haven't really gotten any, though he did make an appearance in the Archie, Mega Man, and Sonic comics in their second crossover event, Worlds Unite, which started in Sonic Universe issue 76 with the Deadly Fusion story. We start off with the Maverick Hunters going to Sigma's new base, as they have to get through multiple mechanoloids before they eventually make it to Vile, who is resurrected once again. Zero and Axel tell X that they'll deal with Vile as he goes up and deals with Sigma. The two try their best, but Vile is no slouch, and with his new upgrades, he is easily able to take on both of them. One of the soldiers comes up saying that he's going to help Vile, however, it is actually Axel in disguise, though Vile is able to see through it fast enough and hits him away. When it seems like they might be done for, they are then saved by Silver the Hedgehog, a psychokinetic hedgehog from the Sonic universe who uses his psychic powers to keep Vile in place. He then informs the two that he is looking for portals called Genesis portals, which can transport others through various dimensions. He's trying to close all of them, and apparently there is one opening here. They then figure out that this is what Sigma must have been trying to do, and thus they hurry over back to X. When they inform X of what's going on, Silver uses his powers to reopen the Genesis portal that Sigma went through so they can chase after and try to destroy him. Though they get sent to the wrong universe, which is where the group then meets Styx the Badger, a paranoid psychotic badger from the Sonic Boom universe who is more than happy to try to help them, after realizing they're not trying to take over the world, of course. She gets the lackeys of her version of Eggman to open up a new Genesis portal with a portal generator that they just kinda had lying around. They then get sent to the merged Mega Man Sonic universe, where they then team up with the Sonic characters and the Mega Man characters in order to stop Sigma from merging the worlds together and gathering all of their energy. They first have to fight the army of mechanoloids that Sigma has created, as well as his new generals, the Deadly Six, which are known as Zeddy, which are characters from the Sonic universe who have the ability to control robots. Which predictably leads to the Zeddy taking control of all of the robots, including the Reploids and Axel. Though there's really not much that comes from this. They just end up beating the Zeddy and all the robots get back to normal and there's no casualties. Though Sigma's next plan is to send out an army of revived Mavericks, some of which are even Red Alert members, which starts to worry Axel. It was already hard enough for him to kill them once, but having to kill them again? But X just reminds him that these are not his family. These are not the same Red Alert. They are zombies that Sigma made. They only look like his old family. But the army proves to be too strong. Even with all of the fighters, it looks like the good guys will lose. That is until Street Fighter shows up. Yeah, this crossover gets kind of messy and crazy in this last portion, and it would take too long to explain, so I'm just gonna go over clip notes here. We'll probably cover it when we talk about the comics in depth at some point. Seeing that there are other heroes in these other universes, the group starts splitting up into different Genesis portals in order to recruit the heroes from those universes, Axel and Styx going into the Beautiful Joe universe. Then all of the heroes across the multiverse go and try to fight Sigma, though even with all of their power, they can still not defeat him as he is being powered by all of the energy from the multiverse. It's only thanks to from some very complicated timeline shenanigans that the entire crossover is essentially just wiped from the timeline. With that, no one remembers the timeline. It just looked like X shot down Sigma, and Axel holds up a thumbs up because they won the day. Axel would make his final comic appearance in the final issue of the Mega Man Archie comics, issue 55, where Dr. Light got hit with some temporal energy from an experimental time machine and saw visions of the future. Like this one that shows the Maverick Hunters. And the most interesting one, this one that shows the events of the Elf Wars, which is another long, complicated story thing that I'll go over when we talk about Zero and Omega in the future. Though, interestingly enough, this is the only place where we ever get to see a Mega Man Zero-styled Axel, which implies that he kind of dies here in this fight against Omega, considering that he is not in the Mega Man Zero games whatsoever. And other than this cameo in the reprint of the Mega Man X4 manga, as well as the one-short, 4-panel Mega Man X7 manga, Axel does not actually appear in any of the Mega Man mangas, which is disappointing. And that was the character file for Axel, at least until an X9 gets made. I hope you learned something new about this character. I know I joked how he is the least important out of the 3 main Maverick Hunters, which is still true, but there's actually a lot to his character, and I do hope that this video showed that. And let me know if you have any other character files you'd like me to make in the future. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you like the Mega Man character file content, and I will see you guys next time.